Hi guys. Today is sort of a sad day. It's December 20th is when my dad passed away, and it was 6 years ago. So I just sort of wanted to talk about him. I don't know where this is going to go. I've already been crying quite a bit. Grief is, I don't know, it gets easier, but there are times when you start grieving again and it takes you right back to all that pain. It's just so raw, all those emotions of losing him and just everything. But I think around this time of year, I definitely think back to those final months, those final weeks and days of his life, and it's so painful. So this time of year is not easy. It's not. I try and make the best of it, and it does get a little easier. Me and my mom have created some little traditions ourselves since we moved in together in the city, and there are good things, but this is definitely a tough day, a tough time of year overall. But I don't want to talk about the sad things. One day I might. It would be good therapy to talk it out, just everything that happened to him near the end and just all that kind of stuff. But I want to focus on the positive things about my dad, and it's important to remind yourself of all those things because they're wonderful. Now, like I said, I'm going to focus on the positive. My dad and I, if you've probably listened to some other of my videos, we had some issues when I was a teenager and adulthood. We had some, there's a lot of distance, but then we were very close and we worked together. So it's a lot to go through, and it's probably going to be good for me to talk it out because I do kind of need to work that out. I really do. Find some peace there. But my dad, he was 71 in his 71st year when he passed away, and it was colon cancer. But I just want to talk about when I was a little kid. I was spoiled rotten by my dad. He was the good guy, you know what I mean? My mom was the disciplinary, and he was just fun. I can remember up until probably age 7 or 8, we lived as a big family near Windsor, Ontario, which is kind of near the Detroit border in Canada here. Yeah, that's where my sisters and I and my parents, we all lived together. It was after that, when I was about 7 or 8, when we moved to another city, and we kind of left my sisters behind because they were in school and that kind of thing. They didn't want to leave all their friends, and they were old enough to live on their own. So a lot of things changed. But before that time, when we were all like one big family unit, I can remember him coming home from work, and he would put one of his hands behind his back. No, both of them. Yeah, both of them. And he'd tell me to pick which one. And he would always buy me lollipops. Those lollipops that came in 6 in one big plastic pack thing. Anyway. And chocolate bars and a whole bunch of stuff. But he was just fun. And when I look back at pictures, I was always a part of everything with him. Even on his birthdays, when he would, those pictures of sitting at the table with his birthday cake and we're singing to him and all that. He's always got me sitting on his lap, and he let me blow out the candles with him, and he included me in all that. I love that. He was just a lot of fun. And when I think about the kind of person he was, of course there's a lot of sides to everybody, right? But overall, I think he was vulnerable, and he was himself and authentic, and that was just wonderful, because when I was in my mid-20s, I actually went to work with him at his UPS store. He owned it with a business partner, and so they brought me into work, and that way they could take more time off because they were getting older, and my dad was dealing with chemo off and on and all that kind of stuff. And he wanted to go golfing, and so it was just a good little situation. And that is where I got to know my dad on a whole different level. I would work at the desk, so in the back of the store, but it was one big open store. So at the very front is where the cash register was and the shipping scales and all that kind of stuff. And the customers would come in, and I would be working on the computer doing like accounting work and a whole bunch of stuff, computer work. And so I could like listen to everything going on all day long while I was working, and it was just really awesome because my dad was this happy, lighthearted, authentic person, and every single person that came into the store, every single customer would either smile or laugh while they were there, because he was just cute and funny. Like, he was sweet, you know. He was like a little guy. I don't know if he's 5'4", 5'5". My dad's short anyway. Both my parents are short. That's why I am. And he was just like a cute little man, you know. And he would just make jokes with the customers, and he was lighthearted, and they loved it. All his customers loved him so much, and when they came in the store, it felt like home to them. I know it did, because they were able to be themselves, because it was just that wonderful environment. That was really cool to be a part of that. And of course, the customers slowly got to know me, and they'd walk in and, "Hi, Nadine," you know, and I'd wave to them and, "How are ya?" And then they'd get on with their business up front with my dad. But it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Sorry. Oh boy. He taught me well too. He was very patient when he was teaching me things. I'm really, sorry guys. Yeah, I'm really lucky to have known my dad not just as a dad, but as like a businessman and like an entrepreneur. And just watching him interact with people, I learned a lot from that. And I mean, one of my goals in life is just to be authentic, like all the time. Like, just be myself and be okay with that. I think I do that quite a bit, but there are times when I don't, because insecurity gets in the way, or whatever it is, mental illness. So, oh boy. Yeah, good memories working with him for sure. And of course, there are some difficult times near the end of that whole thing, working with him. A lot of things changed. His cancer came back, and he was having to take chemo and radiation and work at the same time. Like, let me just tell you that he dealt with chemo and surgery and all that the first time, and then the second time it was the chemo, just the treatment. But he never missed a day of work. Even if when I was working there, he never missed a day of work. Unbelievable. He would go to his chemo appointments and then come right back to work. And of all three of us, like, he was the hardest worker in that store, I feel like. He'd show up way early in the morning to get caught up on stuff. And I can remember one year, I remember because it was on my birthday, December 17th. So in the UPS store, just imagine how busy it gets that time of year. Oh boy. And it was my first experience working a Christmas with them at the store. And so on the 17th was a Monday, and a Monday was super busy. And it was like the morning time my dad had to go get his chemo treatment. And so he left, and it was just the two of us, his business partner and myself. And we were so busy. There's people lined up to the door, and I was like, it was exciting and awesome, but yet it was super stressful, and I was like so scared I wasn't working fast enough, even though I did great. You know, I know I was like a little efficient worker for sure. My dad always called me a good little worker. What else did he call me? Oh, a computer whiz. That's what he would say to his customers. Oh, I got my computer whiz back there working. But anyway, yeah, back to that December 17th. He had to go get chemo, and he came back from chemo, and he walked in the store through the back, and he came right up to us, and I remember, like, sorry guys, I'm just crying because I miss him. I remember being so busy and like, I was like overwhelmed. And then I looked to my left, and there was my dad walking in. And he just got right to work, and we worked for like the next 10 hours or whatever it was. Because we had to stay late sometimes and catch up. But anyway, talk about strength, right? He was positive too with his illness until the end, of course. But he always believed in his doctors. And he trusted them, and he put faith in them, and he was realistic, but at the same time he was just hopeful and positive. And I think he lived a lot longer because of that. Again, at the end of everything, he was losing hope, and he knew it was just a matter of time. And I think that year or half a year before he did die, he just was exhausted from everything, and he was angry and scared, and so he would lash out, like he would get angry. So things were very difficult before, like things changed a lot that last year, like the whole family unit, and it was not a good thing. But that's one of those things where I just can't focus on that, and I need to focus on all the wonderful memories. Sorry guys, I'm stuffed right up. Oh boy. Okay, I think I'm probably gonna say goodbye for now. Yeah, I've been talking for 13 minutes and I'm kind of falling apart a little bit. But I'm gonna go through today and do my best. Every time I think of all the like stuff he suffered with and all the pain he had to go through, I'm gonna stop that thought and I'm gonna think of something positive. And I'm gonna celebrate his life today and not crumble. Of course, the first few years after he died, the grief is brutal. This time of year is brutal. But I am happy to say that it does get easier in a way. It really does. Although it's, like I said, once you get into thinking about it, and sometimes you just break down. But that's probably going to be like that forever. It's just part of grieving. Okay, guys, I honestly... Sorry, I don't even know where this whole thing was going. I just wanted to talk. This YouTube and talking to you guys is like therapy, and I'm glad I have it. Alright, take care. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.